Hello everyone, Verb here. It was requested at the end of the end closer guide that I do some sample builds. Looking back, that is a very good idea. So instead of just giving theoretical sample builds, I figured I would go through my Aquarius building experience so far and just show the aces that I have built over time as I've gone through the parent building process, I've gone through the ace building process. Notably, I did have an early start. I started about the 2nd of February, which was about 7 days before the registration period of Capricorn Cup because I was just done with Capricorn. So I did have about 50 to 100 runs I've done so far, and I ended up with about 12 or so aces. My expectations for an ace are pretty high, so that is not saying that I had some bad, like they were all bad Umas and I only had like a 10% hit rate. It was more that my expectations were so high that I would need either like a mile S or a fast learner or just every single skill on the character in order for it to even hit. If you look here, pretty much everything with a white cake was the aces, and as you can see, most of them are pretty recently, honestly, because as you go along, the failed Umas become your parents, and it makes things easier as you go along because you're not having to look for as many skills because your failed Umas become the parents for your newer Umas. That's honestly the easiest progression to do, and we'll talk about that in the parent series going forward, which I'm starting to build. But for now, I'd like to go through each ace that I've made that has made the cut, and then explain how they were made, essentially, and what's good about each one of them. So the first Uma I built was Taiki Shuttle for the Pace Chaser role. This is when I was just starting to learn. This is even before the Pace Chaser guide. As you can see, there's many mistakes on this Uma. I took full mile Maven before no stopping me or proper accelerations. There's no real acceleration on this. There's only Victoria Por Plancha, and there's a lack of mid-race skills and wit to support it. So there's some issues with this Uma. This is completely relying, and the reason why Taiki Shuttle is so good is because shooting for victory extends into the acceleration zone by about 1.1 seconds. So it's pretty much like you have a mini straightaway spurt because it's a gold acceleration skill that is guaranteed, and it's only 1.1 seconds, which straightaway spurt's like 0.9 seconds. Another thing is this build. I would never really run this build again because I was just trying to see how much stats I could get because I was running my best power card, my best wit cards, my best speed cards, and it turns out you don't really tap the power button when you're running double speed, even on a 20% speed character. And so this particular Uma's not that great, but it was a starting point. Now, notably, you will see that a lot of my stats are not going to really be the standard 1200 speed, 1000 power, 1000 wit, because I value racing a lot. This one was kind of over raced a bit. It was about 20 wins, 20 races. I value racing a lot because I value the skills. I think they make you win in the mile championship. So you'll see about anywhere between 600 to 1000 wit and 700 to 1100 power is where my Umas end up. Notably, this wit is a lot lower than what I would hope for. Okay, let's keep going. So I would learn from this. I would build the next Taiki Shuttle. Next Taiki Shuttle has better wit, better power. It has more acceleration options besides just VPP. No Stopping Me is a decent high roll, and then we have Forward March to combine with Shooting for Victory as our sort of timing-based acceleration for at least some moniker of consistency. This one was marked because this was actually a fast learner build. We raced a little bit less. We actually swapped out to Daikatu Helios, which has a couple of extra mile skills to help us with like the mile corners and such, as well as some pace skills. And then we would just run the standard 2-2 skill card Rico build, and we got a decent Uma. I think this is probably my strongest Taiki, even though it doesn't have mile S, because we were able to get so many nice luxury late race speed skills with like Tripulse. And so this one fared pretty well even in the rune matches. In the third build, we have a little bit less stats, but we did end up eventually hitting Mile S on a Taiki. We ended up switching straight to a 3-speed, 2-wit Rico build. Notably, these are parents, so these are number of parents, so 3 wit parents, 1 power parent, 1 stamina parent, and 1 speed parent, which is kind of wild that I was able to get 822 with just a power parent and no other power generation. It was just the speed. The speed cards were just giving me enough power. This one doesn't have as much mid-race is the only problem with it. It does have Lights of Vaudeville. We took that instead of VPP because I found that, there's going to be a lot of front runners, so let's not bank on a high roll. Let's try to just get some standard accelerations. This one has head-on. A lot of these Pace Chaser Late Surger builds have a variety of different skills you can take. They're all timing-based accelerations, so again, shooting for victory plus head-on usually will be enough, and then we have No Stopping Me for the high roll in this case. Changing gears is a lot better mid-race speed skill for this, and we just kind of go from here. So these are the Taiki Pace Chasers that I made. I did make other Pace Chasers, but just the consistency of Taiki's ultimate has just put her ahead of pretty much every other Pace Chaser that I've made because of shooting for victory mainly. Let's talk about Late Surgers. This is my primary role, I would say, the one I enjoy building the most. We started out with an Agnes Digital. This had 15 wins, by the way, and 15 wins in the career. We got very high power, very high wit. Only problem with this one, we don't have Let's Pump Some Iron. That's not the end of the world because we have gold lead the charge and gold on your left. Essentially, we are banking on good timings for both of these, and a combination of this plus the mid-race with the pro curves and the corners. This was basically the bare minimum Agnes Digital that I started. I did build Agnes Digital first because her parenting is very, very good, because when you gold lead the charge, you generally get a forward march parent. You have a pretty high chance, like 40 to 50% that it's a lead the charge parent, and also Umastan. And I am an Umastan believer a little bit. I just find that on this character, it's in the kit. It's very good as a white skill. I know pace down breaking is weird because you can't really model it, and it's kind of high rolly, but when it hits, it hits. If the Umastan procs late, and with some straight skills, it's not the end of the world if you do get pace downed a little bit. So I know in these shorter tracks it's a little weird to model, but hey, it does put you in front of the other late surgers, especially when you're running some. Now, we would learn from this. Again, we're running a speed whip build, and we would end up just keep building Agnes Digitals until I got a good parent. We ended up getting another mile S run with very high power, a little bit lower wit, and then 14 races on this one. We started running the comfy build, which is 3 speed, 1 stamina, 1 wit. You basically are using a high training effectiveness stamina card because you wanted other trainings to help you, and then you tap stamina as needed. We just swapped everything out of stamina, put it onto power for parents, and then we got basically what I would say is a nice Agnes Digital. She has lead the charge, she has on your left, and she has Let's Pump Some Iron as the accelerations. OMG, the final sprint, will carry you in the late game, and your mid-race speed skills, top pick, is okay. It's on in pro curve, and we just have a TDM breaker. The only problem is that we don't have enough straight skills really to support the PDM breaking. So it's Umastan's just kind of there, and it's a high roll if it procs late. That's all it is. Moving on, we started after we got a good parent on our Agnes Digital. We started making Oguris in this case, just because she has high affinity, and I enjoy making Oguri Caps. And I started running just again the comfy build, 2 speed, 2 wit, and a stamina card, mostly just for stats, and we're getting the skills from blue explosions. And Oguri Cap, this is what I would say is my favorite Uma to watch, because I had a thought and I was like, hey, what if we just hit and we just buy every late race speed skill? So I call this Cinema Oguri because if you look here, we have Triumph Impulse, Final Sprint, we have Home Stretch Haste, we have Mile Straights, we have Straightaway Adept. We just have so many late race speed skills that if updrafters or on your left hits at a good time, it's just kind of GG, because we are about like 500 speed faster, it feels like, than everyone else. The reason why I started this build is because, hey, we didn't actually hit max speed on this, so I was like, why don't I just buy a bunch of late race speed skills to compensate? We did end up getting Dirt S, Mile S on this, and we actually raced 20 times, so this was actually pretty good, and this is kind of the power of Wit Sparks. So you have 2 Wit plus this, you got 750 right there. Easy peasy, really fun Oguri to watch. Then we started building Pasas, Pasa Fantasies for the late surger because Condor's Fury can late proc, and we eventually just got a decent Pasa. This was not fast learner, but it just has every skill you need. So I started running this quad speed single whip build as with some wit sparks as I did that video. It's probably popping up right now. I did that video that showed what it was and how to do it, and the reason why it's good. The reason why it's good is you can actually run more races and you can get more skills. And when you're running someone like El Condor Pasa Fantasy, who has just so many good built-in skills that don't really have any discounts, I mean, you just get Furious Feet, Rising Dragon's good, On Your Left's good, It's On's good, Pro Curve's good, Pump Iron, of course. And Pump Iron, we got Cut and Drive for the late race because it's funny, and we got even late surger corners and mile corners. So this is like every skill you need on a late surger. The gold versions are better, obviously, but you can just get the white versions for a lot of these and be perfectly fine. So I just made an Condor Pasa. It did have mile A, and we kept going. So we kept getting run after run after run after run after run. And we got this Condor Pasa. We hit mile S for the first time. And this was really funny because I just had another thought. I was like, well, what if we just, let's just have more dice. So this has 7 accelerations. Pump Iron. It has Slick Surge, No Stopping Me, Furious Feet, Big Ig Power, Forward March, and Condor's Fury. So it has so many dice. So one of them's going to hit, right? That's the thought about this. It is lacking a little bit of late race speed, but we're just kind of hoping that Winter Runner 1240 speed is enough to carry us because we're hopefully hitting an early ultimate or an early acceleration option. Again, 24 races, a little bit lower wit and power because of it, but because of that I was able to take 7 acceleration skills, and we'll see if it actually matters. This is currently 1 in the final 3 in terms of this is on the actual team at the moment. We'll see if this one makes the cut at the end. I did make gold cities just to have gold cities. This is probably the best one I did. It's not the greatest. It doesn't have pump iron. It does lean on no stopping me, but it does have on your left and forward march. Some mid-race speed skills. We went back to running singular Oguri to try to get Furious Feet, and naturally when you run a skill card, it doesn't give it to you, and we become sad. So this is the only mile S I've gotten on Gold City. And of course she has pretty low wit, but I just wanted to add some variety in the characters that I had. She is not making the cut at the moment, but we will probably rebuild her. And finally, we have an Oguri Cap that actually has pump iron on it. It's pretty general, pretty standard. We kept running the 4-speed, 1 whip build with the change that we started running Ishin Flash, 1 for the extra mood ups, and 2 because we wanted some late surger skills. Oguri Cap doesn't really give you that many good skills, so if we can actually get late surger corners or late surger straights, which naturally we got neither in this run, it would be pretty good. So there's not as much mid-race on this one as I would like. We are running updrafters on your left, no stopping me as in pump iron as our accelerations with a Gamba acceleration. There's a little bit of lack of mid-race, a little bit of lack of late race, but Tri-Pulse is very good for that. And so this Oguri is very good. We will probably have a better one, but this is where we're at right now. I do not have an end closer to show you. I'm apologizing for it, but essentially all you would do is you take that Cinema Oguri I did, you can see this build here, and you just swap out on your left position Pilfer for straightaway spurt and any other acceleration or mid-race speed skill option. And for the build, you essentially just swap out Fuku Baro for your Sweep Tosho Baro so you can get straightaway spurt. I would expect about 50 less stamina and guts and about 50 more speed on this because you'd have more speed generation, but you would lose the roaming potential. So you'd probably have less stamina. You'd probably have a little bit less guts. That's how you would build an end closer. I haven't built one that I find good enough to actually put in the video. I have started trying to build some front runners as like 1 or 2 a day. And this is because I'm trying to learn front runner for the front runner guide. And hey, they are difficult, I will say, but I did get some beginner's luck on my first 2 runs. It's at the end of the day, you just take groundwork and you take some green skills. In this one, the problem with this one is we have a wit check on taking the lead and a wit check on focus. So we need to survive 3 wit checks, which probably isn't going to happen, but you get angling and scheming, you get your groundwork, you get your taking the lead, and then you just load up on as many mid-race speed skills as possible, and you go from there. I did end up getting a second one that's a little funny, but instead of focus, we have outer post proficiency. So if we hit the outer post, we hit groundwork. Is it cope? Absolutely. But hey, this is what I have. And this one has actually more skills. So we have our taking the lead. We have firm conditions. We have groundwork. We have taking the lead. And we have OPP when it hits. You know, I wish we were on Kyoto, but we're not. We only had like extra 50 skill points. These are the fronts I have. I just started building them about 2 days ago. This was the build I was running. I was running 3 wit, 2 speed because Pasa has very good speed gen with a bunch of speed sparks, some power sparks, and stamina sparks. Notably, I do have this 2LB Suzuka that I've been trying to get unrestrained on, and she hates me as well, so she doesn't give me unrestrained ever. So we're sad. So let's have some fun. I'm going to be running a practice race. I set it up, but I haven't watched it, where I'm going to run, I think, 9 of the most interesting characters that I built out of the 12. I understand this will be mostly late surger biased and probably in most people running front runners and pace chasers. Possibly the late surgers because the pace chasers don't really have a good option. And I understand there'd probably be at least an end closer or two because of straightaway spurts viability. So this is not a representation of how the CM is going to go, but we're just going to have a little fun and see who actually wins. So without further ado, we're going to put up the 2 front runners I have, 2 of the 3 Taikis I have, and then a bunch of late surgers. We have, the Umastan Digiton. We're going to run both Cinema Oguri and the regular Oguri, put a Gold City in there, and have the 7XL El Condor Pasa. So let's just run this practice race. Let's turn on the sound options. Get some music, all right? Let's make sure you guys can hear it. There we are. Alright, so I have the standard race. Everyone's in it. Let's just see what happens.
行ってくる。晴れ渡る空の下行われる。さあ、ゲートが開いた。各馬娘揃って綺麗なスタートを切りました。
誰が先頭に抜け出すか注目しましょう。
6番エルコンドルパサーと9番エルコンドルパサー、この2人が競り合っているぞ。芝からダートに入ります。期待通りの結果を出せるか。1番人気アグネスデジタル先頭をかけます。6番エルコンドルパサー、続きました9番エルコンドルパサー。激しい先頭争い。うちには7番タイキシャトル、4番手1番タイキシャトル、5番手アグネスデジタル、外からゴールドシチー、そしてそのうち8番オグリキャップ、そしてその後ろから行くのは5番オグリキャップ、1馬審査2番エルコンドルパサー、9番エルコンドルパサー、先頭を進みますが、これは正解でしょうか。
9番エルコンドルパサー、彼女の客室には合っていますね。
大欅を越え4コーナーへ。さあいよいよ直線だ。どのタイミングで誰が仕掛けるのか。7番タイキシャトル、ここで抜け出した。5番オグリキャップ、前を狙っているぞ。最終コーナー、先陣を切ったのは7番タイキシャトル。400を切りました。1番タイキシャトル、並びかけてきた。1番タイキシャトル、完全に抜け出した。突っ込んでくる。1番タイキシャトル、見ていてくれ。これは私も全力だ。200を通過。1番タイキシャトル、足色は衰えない。1番タイキシャトル、リードは2馬身。お見事。1番タイキシャトル、100歳以上の強さを見せた見事な勝利です。1番タイキシャトル、あと一歩及ばないか。
Alright, which one was that? This was the Mile S. I don't know if she had early head on, but she just moved forward in the pack so much. Hey, Future Bird here. I think I figured out what happened. Even though I got this massive speed carryover on our Taiki, I believe that my other Taiki ended up passing in to 3rd place, which caused a late proc ultimate. And then from there, she just was able to just destroy the race. And Oguri Cap is like the only one that has a chance, but she ends up getting blocked with Taiki anyway, so it basically takes out the entirety of Tripulse. So it's a combination of just a late proc Taiki ult is just kind of ridiculous. So my analysis before was completely inaccurate, so I'm going to go over it again basically. So that's what happened is we had a late proc Taiki ult on one of the Taikis. It still can late proc and give you more than that 1.1 if you pass into 4th place. So yep, the winner was the late proc Taiki, and then it looks like Lights of Vaudeville just took her to victory. And then the Agnes Digital, who was able to push forward in the pack just through wit checks pretty much. Just wit checks and skills, got 2nd. And then the front runner Pasa did not actually proc groundwork. Was able to take 3rd, and then Oguri got blocked. Taiki Shuttle, even though she had speed carryover, just didn't have head-on proc early enough. El Condor Pasa just doesn't have the speed skills really to compete with a full double gold acceleration from a pace chaser. It's just that's gonna win. That Taiki's probably gonna win every match that happens because that was a perfect proc ultimate. So. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to try and get the Frontrunner guide out. I have to learn a little bit more on Frontrunner still, so look forward to that. I hope you enjoyed this entire process that I've just gone through. I understand if it was kind of all over the place. It's just more of an informal video. I hope it was helpful. Thanks for watching. Everyone take care. Burb out.